with nourishment. That's what the Greek translation, which is boske, means shepherd his lambs. It means to supply with nourishment his lambs, shepherd his lambs. Lambs are the young and tender ones. So Jesus is saying to Peter, I need you to take care of the young, tender ones. Are you with me?
Amen.
And because Jesus deals with trauma in such a way, I had to take a look at this because Jesus is now extending agape because he is indeed God in the flesh. And it lets me know what we ought to do is make sure that we have a Jesus-like model. Don't deal with trauma like a fool. Jesus had every right to dog Peter out for not being at the doggone tomb and not being at the cross. But I realized that Peter had been traumatized. Peter had been, along with the others, had been walking with Jesus, talking with Jesus, been living with Jesus for almost 3 years. And now you find out the one that you love, you see him being taken from you by the Roman soldiers. You hear that he's been flogged. You heard that he's been crucified. And you understand how deadly, how anguished, how ugly crucifixion is. And you heard he died. It was already in the Jerusalem Times. You saw it for yourself on Saturday that Jesus died. Jesus, the daughter of the son of Mary and Joseph, died. You know, the one that used to be the carpenter, the one that claimed he was going to be the King of Kings, the King of Jews. He died on a cross on Friday, and Peter was traumatized. I'll be the first to let you know I miss my friend Dave that died on September 2nd. But I'll be traumatized if he comes back.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
And because Peter was traumatized, Jesus deals with him with agape love. Verse 16, Jesus, I thought perhaps Jesus was short in memory because he now says to Peter again, he says, Peter, do you love me? And Peter says, come on, you know I love you. Well, really what Jesus is saying, do you phileo me? Do you phileo me? I'm using both pronunciations because I know it's pronounced different ways in different parts of the Greek and wherever you're located. But he's saying to you, phileo me. And Peter says, I phileo you, I phileo you. Well, what he's saying here again in the Greek is I want you to tend to. I want you to, pomain is the Greek word. I want you to shepherd my sheep. Now, what's the difference between feeding and shepherding? That feeding the sheep could mean leading the sheep to one pasture and keeping them in one place. But if sheep are really going to grow, as human beings, if we're going to grow, as disciples, if we're going to grow, we can't stay neutral. We can't stay in one place.
Amen.
I'm trying to help somebody.
Amen.
It's good the way y'all did it in 1979. It was great in 1989. It was great in 1999, 2009. But guess what? This is 2019. And I'm going to leave that alone. That prayerfully nobody's still wearing clothes from 1999. You got new clothes, so you ought to have a new attitude about that. You ought to be willing to move in the direction that he is speaking to the pastor to lead you in. Amen. So therefore, stop always talking about what we used to do and realize God is trying to take you somewhere new.
Amen.
So he's saying, I want you to tend to these sheep. Shepherd these sheep. Shepherd them. Lead them. Tend to the older ones, he's saying. He's now talking about sheep. He's talking about tend to the older ones. Move them and direct them or develop these sheep, the older sheep. And sometimes you got to understand that sometimes some of the older sheep are the more obstinate ones.
Preach.
I'm talking about the folk that live in Jersey and go to church in Jersey. And Harlem. Where how sometimes the older sheep will put up a wall and they don't understand, they have not dealt with their trauma, and it brings about drama, and the Lord is trying to deal with their trauma by loving them through it, and they won't let anybody love them through their drama and their trauma. But I want to let you know that you don't have to be 70 or 80. You can be 30 years old. And I can be talking to you how somebody's trying to help you get through what you're going through. And the Lord is always saying, okay, you might not love me the way I love you, but I'm sending somebody to love you and bring you out of that drama and recognize the trauma you've been in so you can get a healing. And I want you to know that healing don't always come from somebody sprinkling some water on you or laying hands on you. It doesn't always happen by you laying prostrate for the Lord. But you've got to sometimes realize that God is going to send somebody to minister to you in such a way that sometimes it could be just by the ministry of presence, by them sitting with you as you're going through what you're going through. So he's saying, do you phileo me? Peter says, man, you know I phileo you. Take a look at verse 17. Jesus asked for a third time. And Jesus says, he says this to make sure Peter understands what's going on. He says, Peter, do you phileo me? Peter likewise says, Lord, you asked me the third time. Man, you know I phileo you. Why are you tripping asking me this in front of the fellas for the third time? Yeah, I love you, man. And Jesus says, feed. He says, feed. First he said, feed. Then he said, tend. Now he's saying, feed again. He says, supply with nourishment my sheep again. But notice, this is the lesser of three challenges. Because here, he's saying to him that I know that you can't do what I asked you to do. You can't have agape toward me because you're traumatized. And some of us can't shout on Sunday because we've come out of trauma all week long. And so I've learned to stop trying to beat people up when they're not waving their hands and jumping up and down and running around the sanctuary. Just because I had a good week didn't mean somebody else did. Just because I've come from a good home doesn't mean somebody else. Somebody is leaving the sanctuary to go right back to a living hell. And what we don't understand is they're sitting there waiting for the Lord to deliver them. And while we're waiting for them to praise and tell them the praise is a way for them to get a breakthrough, yes it is, but they can't see the forest for the trees. So Jesus now gives a lesser challenge by saying, do you love me? But he says, yeah, I love you. He says, do you phileo me? He says, yeah, I phileo you. He says, okay, supply with nourishment the sheep that you're now shepherding. See, Jesus deals with trauma by extending grace.
Amen.
I told you last night how I thank God he's not punitive God, how he doesn't beat me every time I get out of line. I don't know about you, but I'm not perfect. Some of y'all might be better than me by accident than I am on purpose. Some of y'all might pray all the time, and some of y'all might fast all the time. You might say, good morning, God bless you, and I'm going to pray for you and really pray for the folk. You might say, Jesus loves you, and all that stuff to everybody you meet. You might say, God bless you to everybody you come in contact with. But I want you to know I'm still going through some stuff, because even though I told you I came from a good household, I've seen some traumatizing things. I've gone through my own trauma. As an African-American male, I know what it's like to be thrown in the back of a police car when I was innocent. I know what it's like to be looked at as though I'm guilty of everything. I know what I've been through. But I realize if it had not been for the Lord on my side, I'd be on lockdown for killing somebody that said something to me I didn't like. I thank God that he saved me, because what God does when he sees trauma, what he does, he extends grace.
Amen.
Grace is, you know what grace is. Grace is comes from the Greek word charity, which C-H-A-R-I, which we get the word charity from. And the charitable acts. Grace is favor. It's unmerited favor. It's extraordinary goodness toward those of us who have no claim on it, but yet no reason to expect it, but yet it's a free gift from God. So I thank God for his grace. So while we're waiting on other folk to get themselves together, they don't know how to get together. What we ought to do is do as Jesus did. We ought to deal with them the way Jesus does, and the way he deals with us. The way Jesus deals with trauma is he deals with us by extending grace unto us. Therefore, we've got to deal graciously with people. Therefore, Jesus tells his disciples to show love. He tells them that to show love to one another. Jesus said, by this men will know you're my disciples if you have love towards one another. Therefore, charity and grace, we ought to have charity or grace to others. And stop always being excited about the fact somebody's doing right. We ought to embrace some folk that are doing wrong. Sometimes we got to spend time with the one that just can't get it together, regardless of how many times they were told the right thing to do. You didn't accept Christ the first time you heard about him. Somebody to come back and tell you over and over and over again, my seat. I saw Grace on Friday. I'm not talking about the sister that live around the way. I'm talking about Grace when Jesus died on the cross. When he died for me. He did it for you too, but he died for Keith William Roberson. He knew I'd be a mess, so I thank God that he died. He had all the power to come down. Couldn't dispatch angels to come deliver him from the cross, but he never said a mumbling word, but he died right on that cross. He stayed dead, but when he got up with all power in his hand.
Amen. Amen.
Because he was gracious to me, I ought to be gracious to everybody else, because that's how Jesus deals with trauma.
Woke me up this morning.
Trauma brings drama. But when Jesus deals with trauma, he gives grace.
Yeah.
Somebody said, "You woke me up this morning."
Amen.
And I discovered that there were new mercies waiting on me.
Come on now. Do it.
So, beloved, we want to extend this invitation. You know how Jesus deals with trauma. And we want you to understand how you ought to deal with trauma in your life. Won't you come now? How Jesus deals with trauma. And a lot of us go through trauma every day of our lives. And we don't realize it. And we act up. And we don't know why. We thank you, Dr. Roberson, for that message. I do believe you helped somebody tonight. Amen.
Amen.
Now we're ready to go home. Benediction will be given tomorrow night. We're going to sing "This May Be the Last Time." Come shake hands with this preacher. Let him know how much you appreciate him. Shake hands with one another, Father.